Plenty of other channels show you quick-cut compilations of dashcam videos, but only Wham Bam Dashcam tells you the stories behind the videos sent in by our subscribers. Get ready for 20 exclusive dashcam videos. Ignacio was headed to college and was waiting at a traffic light when he witnessed a T-bone collision in the intersection ahead of him. It's unclear what color the oncoming SUV's light was, but what is clear is that the driver made an unprotected left turn before colliding with a driver that had sped up to get through their own yellow light. The result was the SUV flipping onto its side and coming to rest against a traffic island. Ignacio provided his dashcam footage to the responding police as bystanders ran to help the drivers. Sometimes a driver can do everything right and still get involved in a collision that isn't their fault. Donnie was driving a van down a highway when a vehicle ahead of him lost control and turned sideways, blocking his lane. With another van in the lane to his right, Donnie had no choice but to collide with both vehicles, as his own van struggled to slow down in the rain. He told us the driver of the car had fallen asleep before losing control. He got out to check on the driver before first responders arrived. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured in the collision. This emitter was heading home with his wife from IKEA when they had an opportunity to take a dangerous driver off the road, at least for a while. When they spotted a pickup truck struggling to hold its lane, they called 911.
I am reporting an impaired driver in a Dodge pickup truck, light colored beige with a roof rack.
The emergency operator asked them to continue following the pickup from a safe distance while troopers from the Washington State Patrol were quickly dispatched to the area. 10 minutes later, 2 State Patrol SUVs had arrived. It took a couple of minutes for the troopers to figure out which pickup they'd called about, but eventually they pulled it over to find out if the driver was intoxicated.
We're just now passing them. The truck directly in front of us in the third lane is the one that was swerving. And the officer is right there and getting right behind.
Our submitter doesn't know if the pickup driver was impaired, but at the very least, they probably got a very stern lecture from the state troopers. Good work, Deckmaster. Your actions may very well have saved lives. Gideon watched a Kia Forte lose control before bouncing off a guardrail and slamming into a Mustang in the other lane. When Gideon stopped, so did several other drivers, and that's when he learned that the Ford Explorer directly in front of him was being driven by the wife of the driver of the black F-150 ahead of it. He told Gideon the Kia had first clipped the F-150's rear bumper before losing control. The Explorer driver had to slam on her brakes, and Gideon's safe following distance ensured he had time to slow down without hitting her. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured in the collision. Gideon quickly downloaded his dashcam footage to his phone and airdropped it to the responding Alabama state troopers when they arrived. Jeremy was on his way home from work when he noticed emergency lights approaching in his rearview mirror, and that's your warning for anyone sensitive to strobing lights. There are a lot in this particular dashcam video. A Jeep Grand Cherokee was being chased by a convoy of Denver police vehicles. Thankfully, Jeremy told us the other drivers on the highway at the time did a good job pulling over to give the cops space to safely pursue their suspect. Jeremy doesn't know what the outcome of the pursuit was or why it started in the first place, but he did tell us he hopes the Jeep driver was eventually arrested. Daniel was headed home from work when he watched the driver of a Ford Ranger lose control while trying to avoid rear-ending the stopping car ahead of him. Daniel swerved and braked while honking to warn the pickup driver. Thankfully, no collision occurred and everyone was able to continue on their way. Frank was at a stop sign preparing to turn left across traffic. He told us that the lane nearest to him was clear when he began his turn, but the driver of a Nissan Ultima changed lanes once he'd already begun moving. Frank T-boned the Nissan Ultima, sending it spinning. In the ensuing insurance investigation, he learned the hard way that vehicles already in the road always have the right-of-way, even if they're changing lanes without signaling. The insurance company found Frank responsible and rejected his claim, leaving him to pay for the damage to his Lexus LC500 out of his own pocket. Mayer was driving down a 55-mile-per-hour highway in New Jersey when he ended up behind another driver who was going only 70 miles per hour. A BMW driver behind him got frustrated that they weren't all speeding even faster. The BMW driver, tailgating an SUV in the right lane, dangerously cut in front of Mayer's GMC Acadia, apparently satisfied with passing just one of the slow vehicles rather than passing them both. When Mayer honked at the BMW driver, this prompted him to brake check Mayer. When Mayer tried to pass him on the right, the BMW driver cut him off before Mayer took to the left lane and passed him at the paltry speed of 86 miles per hour. Keep in mind, this is all happening on a highway with a 55-mile-per-hour speed limit for its entire length. Mayer told us he later made a police report of the aggressive BMW driver, but I'm guessing he left a few details out of it. Warren's wife and son were driving home from the grocery store and were waiting to make a protected left turn at a traffic light. When the light turned green, an oncoming driver ignored a red light and headed across. Even though Warren's wife honked at the oncoming driver, the warning didn't stop them from colliding with another car and pushing it into an SUV. Police and paramedics responded quickly, but nobody was seriously injured. Warren's wife gave her dashcam footage to the police. Since their son Aiden is learning to drive, they used this experience to teach him to always be aware of his surroundings. If watching our videos is helping you be a better driver, consider subscribing so you won't miss any future classes. I mean, episodes. Ethan was driving his Mercedes E500 when the Audi driver ahead of him slowed down and signaled for a right turn. At the last second, the driver changed his mind, turning off his turn signal and turning back into the road. A Subaru driver from the right had already begun pulling into the road before the Audi driver hit the gas, nearly T-boning the Subaru. Thankfully, no contact was made, but Ethan told us the Audi driver pulled over anyway. Ethan left us with this driving tip: never trust a turn signal. Remember, driving defensively means taking the poor skills of other drivers into account. Thankfully, the only items damaged this time were 2 pairs of underwear. Ozzy and his father had parked their Kia Forte on the street while running an errand, and when they returned, they discovered an SUV had collided with parked vehicles while they'd been gone. An SUV had randomly lost control before plowing into a parked car. Once Ozzy located his dashcam footage of the collision, he was able to provide it to the owners of one of the vehicles who was still there assessing the damage. Daniela was headed to college on a gloomy, rainy morning when she caught a Tesla behaving badly as the driver ran a red light, nearly colliding with a minivan.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
Speaking of Teslas, I asked you to send us your Cybertruck sightings so I could make a special episode, and boy did you deliver. I promise the episode is coming soon. In the meantime, by all means, keep sending them in. My wife Melissa absolutely loves having to screen them all. Eric is a repeat submitter who sent us a video we featured in our Worst Drivers of California Volume 1 video a while back. This time, what he captured on his dashcam was more than just a close call from a dumb driver. At first, Eric only heard the impact and wasn't sure what had happened. After reviewing his dashcam footage, he went to a local police station and offered them a copy, but the officer told him no collisions had been reported. So far, Eric hasn't been contacted by the police, so hopefully that means everyone involved was okay. Chris was headed to a medical appointment with his grandfather when a work truck merged ahead of them on the highway. When a box truck began passing it, the driver of the work truck suddenly began merging toward it. When the work truck's sudden swerve startled the driver of the box truck, they nearly lost control while coming within inches of sideswiping a pickup in the passing lane. Thankfully, no collisions occurred. Bobby was driving down a California highway when he noticed an SUV entering from an on-ramp at high speed. Before long, the driver lost control and bounced off the median barrier before colliding with other vehicles. Bobby noted that the SUV was already damaged before this massive wreck occurred. It's possible the driver isn't very skilled, or they might not be insured. Either way, spotting damage on a vehicle is a good reason to steer clear. Jory was headed to school one morning shortly after getting her first dash cam. When she approached a red light, an oncoming SUV ran the light to turn left, right in front of a cop car. Jory kept going to school after capturing the instant justice with her new dash cam. If you need a dash cam, we put links to the ones we recommend down in the description, along with special discount codes just for our fans. Chase was on his way to work when a car ahead of him nearly sideswiped an SUV before losing control and sliding into the concrete barrier. Chase stopped and checked his dashcam footage to see if the two vehicles had made contact, but thankfully the SUV had escaped from the incident unscathed. Christopher was on his way home when another driver entering the road from the right pulled out in front of his Hyundai while he was going around 40 miles per hour. Christopher slammed on the brakes, slowing to about 6 miles per hour while swerving to avoid a collision. He's thankful the two vehicles didn't make contact, but he told us his heart was in his trousers, which must be a German thing. This Canadian fan wasn't so fortunate when the driver of a red car decided to pit maneuver himself off the front of his Honda Civic. Our submitter told us that the insurance investigation determined the other driver was fully responsible for the collision. We usually close out our episodes with funny or cute videos to wrap things up, but this time our final video is just weird. Check out this strange vehicle our submitter encountered while driving through an airport parking lot. By now, I'm sure you've all figured out what it is. The Oscar Mayer Wienermobile got a new paint job. I wonder why they went with that color. Whatever the reason, now I'm hungry. If you were hoping for a cute animal video, we always have tons of them over on the Wham Bam Security channel, so go check out the latest episode. Or if you want to see the other video Eric sent us, you should watch our Worst Drivers of California Volume 1 special episode. Enjoy!
Wham, bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.